This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be talking about all sorts of different fun resources like the pumpkins, the wood, the iron, coal, brick, grain, all these different things. Because we're going to be taking a look at the upgraded component kit to Charterstone. This is from Top Shelf Gamer. They're the ones that does a lot of the components for a lot of Stonemaier games. And we're going to take a look at the kit that's specific for Charterstone, but much like all their kits, they can pretty much be used for any game. I'm going to show you the original Charterstone components, but I'm also going to show you these back to back next to each other with some high resolution, interesting pictures, looking at it at different angles. So let's take a look. Now here are the upgraded components for Charterstone that you can get from Top Shelf Gamer. The bottom is the standard components that come in the game, which are great wooden components, but here are the upgraded ones for the different grain, the wood, the brick, the pumpkin, the metal, and the coal. So let's take a closer look at all of these. Now here's a close look at the grain at two different types of vantage points, and as you can see, great upgrade. Now here is the brick, and this is a pretty big difference because once the brick is laid down, the top of it has those three little holes that looks really cool. And the one on the right there, you can see it looks like it's not manufactured by machine. It looks hand done the way that it has the different variances in the type of texture that it looks. Now here on the wood, big differences obviously. On the right side standing up, you can see a little branch coming off on the top right. And then on the left side laid down, you can actually see the rings of the tree, which I think are just awesome. Now on the iron, you can see clearly those little pits in the iron. These things are actually really heavy. When you lift these things up, there is a lot of force when you drop these things. And as you can see from both different angles, big upgrade. Now on the coal, you could see the differences of the texture as you move around the coal. The light sort of hits it like that. It's not smooth, it's sort of rigid. It feels very interesting as you hold it, and it does look like coal. Now with the pumpkins, obviously it feels different. It has that little, the green thing up top. I like how it's painted different colors. You can see the different ridges in the pumpkin, and I think that's a really cool aspect. All right, well, there are the upgraded components. Now, first, let me say, as you can tell, I think the components that came with the original Charterstone they're great. They're wooden components. They look nice. They resemble what they're supposed to resemble, and they're absolutely fine to play with as is. With that being said, for those that always want to trick out their games, this is an excellent way to do so. These components, the one thing I noticed most about them was the weight of these things. These things are great quality. Like you hold these things in your hand and they're heavy and they chunk and you put them down. Tactically, they just feel really good in your hands. That alone would make me want to get these. Now, but let's talk about each of them individually. Now, as you saw in the overview, I showed the pictures of different angles. And I'm just going to kind of sort of highlight some of the things I liked about each of them. So when the pumpkins, I like how the ridges of those pumpkins were sort of painted in. Of course, you had the painted green top as well, but it gave you the perception of it does really look like that pumpkin when you're looking at the different angles. For the wood, wow, it had that extra branch sort of sticking off of the side, off the top, but then when you looked at both edges, it had like the tree rings of the wood. I just thought that was really cool attention to detail there. The iron. Not only did it look like a block of iron, but it had those pits in there that gave it that sort of that raw feeling of it, and it looked different. It wasn't just a solid iron. I like that about that. The coal had a completely imperfect shape where if you feel around on the coal, like it just looks different. It has different edges and it feels different, and it just a good way of making that look cool and real. The brick, I love when you place it in one specific way. You could see those holes in the brick. Again, it just even if those weren't there, that would have been okay, but you add that extra level of detail, and I think it was really cool. The grain, you hold it on one side and it's really smooth on the bottom, and then you rub your thumb on the top and it's rough. It feels like what grain might feel like if it was sticking out of a little holder there. So that was really cool too. And I really like that you can use these in other games. As we were playing Charterstone the other night, I was looking at these components and I was like, wow, I could use almost all of these in a recent game I had reviewed called Montana. There's pumpkins. How many games have pumpkins? Well, apparently 2 in the last week that I played. Bring on the pumpkins. I could have used the pumpkins. I could have used the coal. I could have used the grain, and I could have used the brick for the copper, but there's plenty of other games you could play this with. So I really enjoyed the components. They did add to the experience. They will add to experiences in other games. I think it's about $27, $28, roughly 30 bucks. Is it worth it? Well, that's up to you. If I'm going to use this in Charterstone and many other games, and you like to have your games upgraded, yeah, if you have upgraded coins and other upgraded components, it makes sense to get this. Now, the only con is if you are going to use this in other games, like I just mentioned, like Montana, you might need to buy more. Now, they do sell sets of specific ones that you can buy individually. So if you wanted to buy 12 more, say, pumpkins, you could do that as well. So you might need to buy more than just the Charterstone set if you're going to be playing this with other games. You're going to want to look at the component counts for those and see that. But overall, I highly recommend these if you want to spend the 30 bucks. I felt like it's worth it, and hopefully you'll know at the end of this video. This has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.